on these nations, and that's what you see right now. So things, the tension is getting more and more intense every day. So as the more tension or the more intense things get, the more Jake is being roused up. And you know, Jake been getting the short end of the stick for so long that they're gonna really lose it in these times. You know, because you got to remember, you know, when you ain't got nothing to lose, you lose it.
Yep.
Like my man Gerald Salente said.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. It says, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep. Who if he go through, both tread it down and tear it in pieces, and none can deliver.
Right, none can deliver, because it's going to be all in these devils that's at the top. They know what the fuck they're doing. They know what they're doing, because the Spirit of the Lord is guiding them to do these things. You know, because it's the judgment of the Lord that's ultimately coming down. You know, these race wars, these class wars, this civil war,
Gender wars.
You know, the economy, the woes of the people. You know, the shortages and all of this stuff, the supply chain breakdown. The truckers ain't getting their work. You know, to be able to supply, you know, these different stores with merchandise. That's all. The Lord is the one that's leading all of that. You see? Why? Because prophecy must and will be fulfilled. We have a more sure word of prophecy. Go ahead.
Yep. It says, thy hand shall be lifted up. Thy hand shall be lifted up upon thy adversaries, and all thy enemies shall be cut off. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord, that I will cut off thy horses out of the midst of thee, and I will destroy thy chariots.
Right, and the Lord is going to, you know, shut everything down. Trucks, car. I mean, if you ain't got no money, if supplies ain't coming in, if they relying on foreign petroleum and all of that, you know, gas and all that, how the fuck you gonna fill up your car? Oh, you got a Tesla? Or what if they shut the grid down? You know, you got an electric car. What if they shut the grid down? You know, what if there's an EMP attack?
Yeah, just imagine, right? Just imagine America being completely shut down. No movement, no traffic, no food coming in, no entertainment, okay? No to and fro, no money, no nothing is moving. Everything comes to a standstill. These people are gonna fucking lose it.
That's it.
All right, it's gonna be every man for themselves. They're gonna turn into a beast-like state. So that's what they've been conditioned to be, and to act like it's beast. Even here in America, when there's plenty of everything, people still fight amongst each other.
Yeah.
And they're still cutthroats. So how much more when there's a lack of bread? How much more when there's great tribulation, like it talks about in 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter?
Right.
See, these things are upon us, and we're actually seeing them manifest.
Yeah.
The truckers, the apostles been speaking about the truckers, you know, being cut off for years, and people scoffed and they scorned. And each year we get closer, there's always a rumor of the trucker stopping. But now we're coming into the time where the shit's literally getting ready to happen. All right.
That's it.
And that's going to be used as a tactic to bring the American people to their knees, to humble you.
Yes.
In order for the elite to come in and so-called save the day through a digital means.
Yep.
So, you know, so now that you can have food, but it's going to come with conditions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because back during the Great Depression, what did you have? Well, during the Depression, what did you have? You had FDR that was, you know, as president. He introduced something called the New Deal, which I believe that was a welfare system of that day to help people out, you know. So the New Deal, which Barack Obama, they said he brought in the New Deal, but then the New Deal will be the micro CHIP, because you got to think of it like this. You're ignorant to the technology that's going on out here. You're ignorant to the scriptures, right? You're in a situation where you ain't got no money coming in, and you have all kind of debt, and all of a sudden they introduce a system, you know, with a method of payment that if you take this, then your woes will go away, you know. They may even do it to where whatever debt you have, it'll be wiped out if you take this device to be able to function in this new system. That way you'll be able to eat, you'll be able to pay your bills, you'll be able to have a home, a roof over your head, you'll have a job, you'll do this, that, the other. Most people are going to jump on that. That's why at first it's going to be what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be
No, I know what you. Yeah. Damn.
So where
My go-to cola ain't working.
so you could choose pretty much. It's going to be a choice. There's another word for it.
Yeah.
But eventually they're going to make it mandatory. You see? Because at the beginning, most people are just going to go for it because the scriptures speak about they were deceived to receive the MOTB. You see? So when enough people take it and are in that system and they realize there ain't nothing you could do, what you going to do? You're going to jump out the system? And once you have the device in you, you're done, finished.
Well, they've been so comfortable on the system.
Yeah.
It's like, a drug dealer can, a newcomer addicted to a drug, and then they take back that drug.
Yeah.
So now that person is like, okay, what do I do? Just tell me. I need to get my hit. It's like, all right, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this.
Yep.
They say, fuck it. Nobody else has that. That's how it is with the American people. They need it. They've been so accustomed to the comforts.
Yep.
And the system that's being brought on simultaneously as this system crashes, when they offer it to you, it's going to be an alleviation from your pains. At best, it's going to be a Band-Aid. At best, because it's not going to fix the issue. But these people are so used to that allopathic. Just put a Band-Aid on it. Just give me some pain medicine. I don't care what it is. Just give me some pain medicine. I just want to eat again.
Right.
Not fixing the actual issue. Not going to the root cause.
That's it.
Okay. And they're gonna be deceived into taking it, and then they're gonna have that great sore that's gonna accompany. All right. And a lot of people, they're gonna be fighting against the government. It's gonna be real bad. It's gonna be real bad.
Right.
And what is the lesson? The title of the lesson? Terrible. Was it terrible
times? Yep.
Terrible times are upon us.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the average American out here totally relies on the government to supply them with things. They're dependent on the government. So when they bring this system in, they're just going to comply. Because it reminds me of the pigs of the Oiki for Noiki. That was George Gordon used to have a podcast back in the day. He's back in the spirit world now, but he had a podcast and he had something called the pigs of the Oiki for Noiki. And there were these wild pigs in some forest, and this man went, and everybody that went in there got killed. So he rented, some fencing and corn and different things. They say, well, we ain't gonna see you no more, but we'll sell it to you. So he went in there, he started feeding the pigs. At first they were a little leery, then the older pigs came, and eventually he started building the fence, and they got used to having his presence there and feeding them. So he kept enclosing them to where you only had two ways in, one way in and one way out, or two ways. One, you could come in from either way or go out either way. Then eventually he closed one off, and he kept feeding them till one day they were all in there, and he finally closed it off and then carted them all away. You see? So he went back in to the town and asked them for helpers to help him to get the pigs so he could sell them. And that's pretty much what's happening. You American people have been sold. You've been reliant so much on this system that when they bring the new system in place, you're going to jump on it and you're going to be locked in because you're already locked in.
Yep. Well, the brother, what's the brother? He, the Yaquab, son of Sears Jr., it was the word voluntary.
There you go. The water, brother. That's the word. Yeah. Voluntary. That's the word that was eluding us. The go-to, the ginkgo, all of that didn't help. Yeah. But guess what helped? The spirit.
That's it.
So it's going to be a voluntary thing at first, but eventually it's going to become, mandatory. Why? Yep. Because the scriptures must be fulfilled. The ones that the elect that refuse, that get beheaded for it, why are they going to get beheaded if it's voluntary at that point? No, it's going to be mandatory at a particular point. Because their thing is get the majority of the people in there, and they already ran their test run during 2020, so they know that the average person out there is going to take whatever they give them, you know. So now we got to focus on the 15%, you know, or 20% or whatever the case may be that are not on board. We just got, and then we'll just take them out, and then we be home free.
Yep.
But they didn't never counted on Yahweh Bashem Yahushai stepping in.
That's it. That's
what Yahushai said. Unless those days be shortened, there shall be no flesh left to be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Yep. This is 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Hard
times are coming. Terrible times. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. This is talking about the world, the whole world. This speaks of in Revelation 12, yep, and in Revelation 3 and 10.
Okay, yep.
You know, both of those, it's a whole world, because Esau is in control of the whole world, and he wants to bring the whole world under his rule. His rule consists of him governing, having a one world system, a one world government, one world currency, and that's what they want, and that's what they're going to, you know, push on the people, and they want total control. They don't want a system to where you can sidestep the bankers.
Oh yeah.
They want every dime, every penny, every nickel that you make. They want a piece of it.
And they want to know where it's going and where it has been spent.
Yeah.
And they want to control where you can spend that money.
That's it.
And even how long you can hold that money.
Yeah.
You know, because the money is going to be what's it called? Programmable. So they can say, okay, you can only buy these goods.
Yeah.
You know, like with the EBT. You can only buy certain food with the EBT.
That's it.
You can't buy, you know, a TV with it, or you can't buy clothes.
Right.
You know, you can't buy this, you can't buy that. Nah. So the money is going to be programmable.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. It's not like you can, you know what, fuck America. I'm gonna go to Iran. You know, well, they have the same system in Iran.
Same thing.
I'm gonna go to Russia, the enemy of America. They have the same system. China, they have the same system. So what? So how did that happen?
Yeah.
Because the whole time, the wicked elite behind the scenes, they've been setting the trap.
That's it.
All right, they've been setting the trap. They have all these world governments on lead with it. These nations, they sold out.
Yep.
All right, they drunk of the wine, the fornication of Babylon the Great.
That's it.
They're in lead with each other.
That's it.
Okay.
And that's where the Lord, when He comes back, He ain't coming for He gonna destroy the peons. But He's coming to visit first the Edomites, the ones in control, their leaders, and their militaries.
Yep. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh.
Yeah.
And one people shall stand up and fight against another.
Right. Sword in their hand. They destroy each other. One people shall stand up against another. They go your class wars, your race wars, your civil wars, and every other war that you can add in there. You know, so it's going to be bad. You know, so this is why the prophets will say, woe is me, man, who's going to deliver me in those days? Who's going to be on my side? Who's going to protect me? Because they actually saw, you know, what we're seeing right now. Just like the Apostle John saw when people were getting micro-C-hipped. He actually saw people lining up and getting that device implanted into their hands. And some ones of them getting it implanted into their head. Why? Because that's the MOTB system. And he actually seen it. So here it is. You got all these great empires that the scriptures talk about, but it's not going to talk about America. The major empire of all empires, and the Bible is not going to talk about it. Come on, man. Come on, man. It says, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men. Right. Sedition is like an uprising against each other. You know, boundary stepping. You know, here it is now. You walk by a person's home, and you're not going to just walk in there unless you got, you know, some business to deal with them, or you got to drop off some mail or a package or whatever. But you're not going to walk up in the person's place and just break in, you know, unless it's nighttime, you know. But for the most part, you respect people's rights. You respect people's space. But in that time, there's going to be line stepping. Yep, that's it. You know, people they're not going to be worried about the line that's drawn in the sand. They're going to cross those lines. Ain't gonna be no more brotherly, you know, neighborly love and none of that shit. Because desperation is gonna set in. Once desperation sets in, that's it. That's when the hell begins.
Woo! That's a lesson right there.
There you
It
go.
says, for there should be sedition.